Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Victoria Chirac, and I am the president of the Gwinnett NAACP Youth Council. Thank you all for being here with us today. We are here at Harold's Chicken of Duluth. That's where we are, and I just want to thank everyone for coming today, and hope to see everyone at our next events for our next month, which would be our event of September. So just keep up with our messages that we'll put out in the following weeks leading up to those events. So today we have with us a special guest. His name is Dr. Stephen L. Bond. He is a history educator in the state of North Carolina. He's been very successful, and he's been instrumental in teaching in teaching in a way that has been very significant to many people. So we're going to bring him on today and hear a little bit of his story. We're going to have him talk about what he's been able to do and all of his accomplishments. And also a big part of Dr. Stephen Bond, what's interesting about him is he's an author as well. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about that. So I'll give him the stage right now. Dr. Bond, good to see you.
Good seeing you as well, Victoria. Thank you for having me on. A little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Stephen Bond. I've been a teacher now for 22 years in education. I've taught middle and high school for that time. And education is something I've loved and is dear to my heart. And I've been truly blessed. Education just been a joy to me. Sometimes a little bit of challenge, but more anything, I love it. I enjoy it. And I'm going to do it as long as I can. I've been a successful author. I've had work published. My last book was actually on the impact of how COVID affected the students I taught, where I had students who, went through the emotional issues with COVID, the hurt and pain of dealing with COVID, and even some of my students lost family members. I had a couple of students lose their fathers just this year alone. And the book talks about the trauma that the kids dealt with, and it was a tool that they could vent and discuss how they felt, and it really helped with their social and emotional needs. And I'm proud of the way the book is sold in 5 different countries, sold 1,000 copies. Educators have used them as well. And also there's a part in the book which the kids give their response to when George Floyd first got murdered. Because when the book first came out, there had been no justice done. We just saw on TV a man who was a father-in-law being killed, and people watched it. And so my students felt some type of way and vented by as well. And also there's a little part in the book where there's biographies of different significant figures, and not just Martin Luther King's, but also some of the unsung you don't always hear about on a daily basis, like a Shirley Chisholm or Eleanor Roosevelt or John Roberts, or those who have had impact, or Katherine Johnson. So I'm very proud how the book is sold, and more importantly, it's a voice of children. And the work I'm finishing up now, I just finished up now, it's getting ready for published. My grandfather had one of the first patents for the signal light for cars, but living in rural North Carolina, he never got money for it. The patent ran out after the 7th year, and he tried to get loans for it to try to renew the patent, and he got threats from the Klan. They threatened to kill him and his children, and the patent expired. And so I have his original patent. I have the paperwork he wrote with it, and for the 7 years he did own it. And so my new book, which will come out next month, is about how my grandfather was a history person, an innovator, an inventor that most people outside of Eastern North Carolina don't know about. And so that'll be coming out next month, and I'm proud of it because for years people knew what my grandfather did with the invention, but nobody talked about it. And it bothered me. It bothered my dad, who died 2 years ago. And it's every time we try to do a work about it, something happened and stopped, or my dad got sick. So the fact that it's going to be published for the world to see is I'm actually emotional about it because it's something I've wanted to do for years. So now my grandfather, David George Bond, rest in peace, will get the credit he deserves for having a patent for the signal light that he started at the age of 16 in rural North Carolina. So that's a little bit about me, and thanks again for having me on.
Yes, and I just want to say what an inspiration you are, just giving a voice to people that actually do have these opinions. Like, I think it also really stands out when you have an educator that cares that you are an individual, and even though you are a younger person, that you obviously still have opinions about worldly events. Of course, the George Floyd issue was a very big issue that a lot of people witnessed, and also young kids witnessed as well and had their own opinions about it. So just the fact that you made that you dedicated an entire book to their feelings and to giving them that space to own those feelings, and that it's okay to feel this way, that's extremely powerful. And it's extremely powerful that you're doing the same thing for your about your grandfather. So I just want to commend you for that, and commend you for being the type of educator that you are. It's a rare breed today. I'm just really thankful for you, honestly. And then I'd also like you to talk about, because I was on your page a little bit, and I did see that you do your TikToks and just keep it really fun and like actually very current and relevant for your students. So if you can go a little bit into that, I'd just like for the people to know. And maybe you can put your tag or like your IG in there so we can keep up with your educational TikToks.
I definitely will. I'm gonna put my Instagram in now as Dr. Stephen Bond. And ever since I started teaching 22 years ago, I always felt like you have to teach outside the box, especially social studies, because it can get boring really quick if you're not an interested teacher. And so just now there's social media, but for years I dressed up in different costumes. I always kept my Egyptian pharaoh outfit because I could tell the young people, you know what, we were kings. So yes, we teach about slavery, but we were powerful kings and leaders. And so when I dressed up, it just got the kids' attention. Now, back when I first started teaching, they didn't have social media like they do now. And what I also learned was also just get some of the ideas from students, hear what they like and were interested in. And I knew a lot of students were interested in TikTok. And when I first saw TikTok, I saw some things which were kind of goofy and kind of crazy, like people falling off crates and things like that, slapping teachers. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And so I said, let's make it into a positive, because I usually do challenges in some of my classes. So every year for my American government class, I would say anyone that could recite the preamble, I'll give them $5. One year I had about 50 students who were memorizing. So I said, wait, I'm gonna have to cut the $5 to $2, or I'll buy you a soda or a drink, because everybody started memorizing it. So
well, it did work out. That did work out.
Yeah, they were definitely motivated. So when I saw the TikTok challenge with the crates, I said, why are people going on crates and falling? Because my day, living in the hood in Queens, New York, crates were used for, you cut a hole in the crate, you propped it up on the wall, and you played basketball. That was your hoop. That was your goal. So I said, let me act like I'm a fake. I'm going to do the crate challenge. And if I got the second, third step, me and my old arthritic self was like, wait, I can't do it. And the students like, but Dr. Bond, let somebody do the preamble challenge. And the young man that did it, his mom's from Brooklyn, she was just in awe. So he said the preamble so confidently, knew the parts of it and said it. And so I was like, wow, this is a great learning tool. And then we did some more challenges where we had the slap your teacher challenge, where I had a student act like they're going to slap me. And then they mentioned Supreme Court cases like Plessy Ferguson or Brown v. Board. And so it's a message, because they're actually teaching as they go along, they're teaching the students. So we had a test one day, and before a test, someone had said, Dr. Bond, what was the Brown v. Board case about? And they was like, you don't remember when what's his name did the challenge and he mentioned it in the TikTok? You don't remember when you're paying attention? So it becomes a study device. So after he faked and slapped me, they gave the facts. And so when the boy acted like he hit me, I said, what in the world? And it got to the point, every time students see me in the hall, they would say, Dr. Bond. I said, yes. And they say, what in the world? So it became comedy, but it was a learning device. And so it was wonderful. And then we had the basketball shooting challenge, where those two young men were on a basketball team, state final team. And they were giving quotes about the Constitution or about Supreme Court, and they'd make a shot. And then I made a shot as well. And the cool thing about it was I made my shot in the first attempt. Now, some of the boys had to retake it. But I said, listen, Dr. Bond will make his shot the first time, because I was a decent athlete 30 years ago. So, and then I did it with the girls on the girls basketball team, where he did as well. And they made the shot, said some facts about like the Supreme Court and stuff. And I made the shot. And so it's just cool where, as a teacher, we're with the students and making it fun, making it interesting. And they're still learning.
Exactly.
Because one of the things we have to do as educate, we have to hear what kids say. Kids were disturbed about George Floyd. And I said, when all day we had Rodney King. That was 30 years ago. I was a freshman in college. So basically we were saying, this crap has to stop.
Yeah.
And so this time it was vindication. But we were thinking, well, what if someone didn't tape it?
Right.
And in one of the journals, which really touched my heart, was that I had one student who said a couple of times he was falsely accused of crime and he was put in handcuffs, being falsely accused of crime. And we talked about stereotypes of racism. So the book way to bring that out, the videos way to bring out that the learning can be fun and comical with a twist in it. And that's something I thank God pride myself in. And so even with the videos we did, it was fun making it. And even now I get comments about it, and the students who are in it get comments about it. And it's been a blessing to so many.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's an understatement. I definitely feel like you're just definitely a hero in the education world, and I'm just so grateful for you. Not all the time, it's not very often that we have Black male educators, and it's not very often that we have educators that will go to that length. A lot of people are okay with just teaching out of a textbook and okay with you just taking notes and not necessarily processing or applying what you've learned or understanding how that can apply to your real life or the life out or the real world, essentially. So I'm just so grateful that you've taken that and made it relevant and made it alive for the students. Wish you were my teacher. Yeah, but definitely. Would you like to leave us with like a fun fact, Dr. Bond?
Wow, fun fact. What can I think of? Well, gosh, you got me for a second. Fun fact about me, I would say is that boy, you got me thinking now. Just
Fun fact about you, fun fact about history, anything.
Okay.
The dome.
Sure. I'll say one history fact about me. I'm actually shy until you get to know me, and so many times I do those videos and so I'm all into it. Sometimes looking at myself, like many times before I do the videos, I look at myself in the mirror and I say, "Dang, Stevie, you look really goofy right now." And so I never let anyone know. But so when I do the video, it's like, oh, they're like, Doc, it looks so cool. But in my mind, first coming in, I'm thinking like, I probably look silly right now. But that's just a little fun fact.
Yeah.
And so like I said, because I've always been a history nerd. And so I love history. I've always thought it was the coolest subject. I thought most of the time it was taught boring. And most teachers teach it like too rigid. And I had one principal years ago, and she was like, "Mr. Bond, you're outside the box." And I said to her, I was never in the box. And that's in the comical way. So I've just been that kind of goofy, nerdy history teacher and just love it. And try to make it as fun as possible. And like I said before, I probably look silly, but as long as they're learning,
Yeah.
I'll continue to look silly.
Yeah. No, it's so powerful what you're doing, and you are appreciated, and we see you. Thank you so much. And we're so glad that we were able to have you today. Dr. Stephen Bond, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. And thank you for educating. Thank you so much.
Thanks as well, Victoria. Thank you, everybody. And I did put my Instagram, Stephen Bond, and my TikTok, and my last book was Perseverance in Strange Land, and the book of my grandfather's, it will be called Uncelebrated But Not Forgotten, The Life and Legacy of David George Bond, which, was my grandfather. And I just thank God that something's being published by him, because now people can say he not only invented the signal light for cars, but now the word's out there. And I'm so appreciative of you, Victoria, and everybody with the NAACP. And thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.